All right, so we have a couple of stories I wanted to cover. The first one is going to be a federal judge temporarily blocks deportations to Libya. And then after that, we're going to talk about our GOAT, James Boasberg, who is continuing to grill the DOJ regarding the El Salvador flights. Before I start this video, I would like to make some things clear because I'm tired of being strawman to death. So, first of all, before I go into my little rant, we are not defending terrorists or gang members. We are defending due process and the rule of law, so please stop fucking strawmanning me. If they can do it to these people, they can do it to me, they can do it to you. Because when due process doesn't exist, you are opening up a large can of worms. We've already seen people with legal status dismissed, deported to CCOT. Come on. These aren't normal deportations, all right? You can't just deport people to foreign prisons. I would argue, foreign prisons. I'm just going to use CCOT as the main one here. We'll get into Libya in a second. CCOT is a terrorism confinement center, more commonly known as a slave labor camp or an extermination camp. The whole point of CCOT is you go there and you don't come out. There's been several human rights violations. There have been reports of hundreds of people dying year to year, tortures, beatings. They have like 100 people packed in a cell with 4 mattresses and 2 toilets if you're lucky. And of course, forced labor conditions. So these aren't normal deportations. Especially when all these people are alleged. It came out that at the low end 70%, at the high end 90%. So between 70 and 90% of the people that we've sent to CCOT have no criminal record in the United States or in their country of origin. How does no one just lose their minds over that? And of course, you have the dozens of stories of people who were sent there from their families and friends saying yo, this is a gay barber, dude. That tattoo you thought was a fucking MS-13 gang tattoo or Chende Aragua, that was a fucking autism awareness tattoo. What are we doing? Even a normal deportation back to their home country, their country of origin, is supposed to have some sort of hearing. And then you have Trump and his jackass administration being like, we can't give due process to everyone. We can't have a trial for everyone. What are you, crazy? It's like, am I crazy? You're blatantly ignoring the Constitution and the rule of law. Okay, sticking points. These are alleged criminals being sent to a slave labor camp with no due process. Even if they were confirmed criminals, we don't send people to slave labor camps. I'm sorry. We are supposed to be above cruel and unusual punishment. Pretty sure that's in the Constitution. It's almost like it's an amendment or something. So stop strawmanning, okay? I'm not necessarily defending the people themselves, their humanity or whatever. I am defending due process and the law and the Constitution. So let's be clear. So, first article from Axios. Federal judge temporarily blocks deportations to Libya. Trump administration can't immediately deport undocumented immigrants to Libya as it would clearly violate an earlier order blocking U.S. officials and sending people to countries they're not citizens of, a federal judge ruled on Wednesday. Sending people to Libya, which a 2023 U.S. State Department report says has harsh and life-threatening prison conditions, is a sign that the Trump administration is stepping up its hardline immigration policy of deporting people to third world countries, even in the face of court orders. Driving the news, U.S. District Judge Brian Murphy granted the plaintiff's request for a temporary restraining order to prevent non-citizen removals to third countries, including but not limited to Libya and Saudi Arabia, without prior written notice and a meaningful opportunity to raise fear-based claims. Among those affected are people from the Philippines, Vietnam, Laos, per a motion filed in U.S. District Court in Massachusetts. They are being set for removal without any reasonable, fair screening, let alone 15-day window to file a motion to reopen with the immigration court to contest any negative reasonable fear determination, the plaintiffs argue. Representatives for the Department of Homeland Security did not immediately respond to Axios' request for comment on Wednesday evening. The Tripoli-based government of Prime Minister Abdul Hamid, I don't even know, I'm not even going to try, said in a statement posted on social media it firmly denies the existence of any agreement or coordination with U.S. authorities regarding the deportation of the migrants of Libya. Yeah, like, I just don't know how you can defend sending people to alleged criminals, to these foreign prisons with terrible conditions where they go to die, where they go until they stay there until they die. Like, that's crazy. Like, I feel like I'm losing my mind, and people just come out and be like, yeah, fuck around and find out. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, Jesus Christ. Then let's talk about Judge Boasberg Grills DOJ on Trump's comments about El Salvador deportation. Public comments from President Donald Trump and his aides are once again scrambling the Justice Department's efforts to defend his administration's deportation policies in court. Federal judge on Wednesday homed in on Trump's recent claim in a TV interview that he could, with a phone call, persuade El Salvador to return illegally deported Salvadorian man Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the United States. U.S. District Judge James Boasberg said during a court hearing that Trump's claim appears to undercut the administration's legal position that it has no authority to return Abrego Garcia or hundreds of other immigrants the U.S. sent there in recent weeks, despite growing question about the legality of the operation. And, like, I swear to God, if I see one person that's like, it's a sovereign country, bro, we can't force them to do anything. Shut the fuck up. All right, why is El Salvador a sovereign country when you just give your middle finger to fucking Canada and Denmark vis-a-vis Greenland and Panama? Like, what are we doing? Like, shut the fuck up. We have an agreement with this country. I give 100%, 150%. I would stake my fucking life on this. If Donald Trump or any president of the United States, regardless of their relationship with President Bukele, if they said, hey, we want these people back, he's going to give them back. Okay? He's not. Or he's not. He is. Like, stop with this bullshit. The whole thing, Bukele in the White House saying, like, I don't even have authority to get people out of CECA. Yes, you do, you fucking idiot. Oh, my God. Fucking sharks. Lying sharks. All of them. Okay, I need to cool down. The inquiry forced Justice Department Attorney Abhishek Kambli into a tricky spot that goes to the president's belief that the influence that he has, Kambli said, but influence the DOJ attorney added, doesn't equate to legal control. Boasberg, the chief federal district judge in Washington, D.C., is trying to discern whether U.S. government retains constructive custody of nearly 140 Venezuelan immigrants who were hurriedly deported to El Salvador under Trump's mid-March invocation of the Alien Enemies Act, a rarely used wartime power. If so, it would be possible to bring them back to receive due process, which Kambli reluctantly acknowledged they did not receive 2 months ago. And this Alien Enemies Act, when they say it's a wartime power, it is a wartime power. You want to know the 3 times in history that it was invoked? First time, War of 1812. American history is pretty shitty at teaching this, probably for obvious reasons, but this was a pretty big war, as much as it doesn't get talked about. The British came down from Canada and fucking burned down the White House. Like, so yeah, okay, fair invocation. Then World War I. I don't have to even go there. World War II, I don't really have to go there either, but I also want to mention that when we invoked it in World War II, we also used it to put Japanese citizens, U.S. Japanese citizens or people visiting, whatever, in internment camps. So just let me be clear, okay? The judge is now asking for an expedited fact-finding inquiry so that he can decide whether to advance the case further. He is asking for statements under oath from administration officials about the U.S. government's legal arrangement with El Salvador so that he can rule on whether the government does in fact retain custody of the prisoners it has sent overseas. Another pointed exchange came as Boasberg pressed Kambli about Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's visit to the notorious Salvadorian prison known as CECA, where the deportees are being held. Noem claimed during the appearance at the prison was one of the tools in our toolkit that we will use. Is she wrong about that, the judge asked? I'm not going to necessarily parse out every statement, Kambli Bird, sometimes public statements lack the nuance of any given situation. Is that another way of saying these statements just aren't true, the judge said? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. Drilling down further, Boasberg pressed on whether the U.S. government is paying El Salvador to house people it has deported there in partnership with the country's president, Nayib Bukele, a close Trump ally. Campbell acknowledged that the U.S. government had paid grants to El Salvador for law enforcement and anti-crime purposes, which the country could use to house deported immigrants in its prisons. I think is either Bukele or the vice president of El Salvador admitted, to Senator Chris Van Hollen, that yeah, they're paying us to keep people here. Like, that's pretty much case shut and closed. Boasberg is weighing whether he still has the authority to preside over ongoing litigation related to El Salvador's deportations. Earlier in the litigation, Boasberg issued a sweeping block on Trump's Alien Enemy Act's deportation, but the Supreme Court lifted that block and ruled that challenges to future deportations had to be brought in the judicial districts where the detainees were being held. Well, it's hard to do that because as soon as these people get detained, the Trump administration puts them straight on a flight to El Salvador. Like, I'm not even kidding. They try to, and it's to a lesser extent the same with people on student visas or green card holders that they're trying to deport. Mahmoud Khalil and Romesa Ozturk, they were shipped straight to Louisiana. And then they're like, well, you have to challenge your detainment in the jurisdiction that you were arrested in. It's like, how? They were fucking shipped out as soon as they were detained. God, please just put this together. Like, I don't know how to explain it to you. This is evil. This is fascist. This is authoritarian. Boasberg also used Wednesday's hearing to force the Justice Department to acknowledge that those around Trump had spent weeks misrepresenting the Supreme Court's ruling. Trump allies have claimed that the High Court upheld Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act, but the justices intentionally avoided that question. In the meantime, 3 federal district court judges in Texas, New York, and Colorado have ruled that Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act was improper, and I know one of those judges was a Trump-appointed judge. So your little left-wing radical lunatic judges falls apart, and they really like to call James Boasberg that, not appointed by Trump, but if you look at his previous rulings, he is split down the line, someone who just seems to be ruling based on the law. He's ruled in favor of Donald Trump before. You remember his tax return scandal? He ruled that Trump didn't have to release his tax returns unless he wanted to. So this isn't some left-wing lunatic judge with an agenda. It's a judge just trying to uphold the fucking Constitution and rule of law. God, this story just breaks, this whole situation just breaks my brain. Like, it would be one thing if these were confirmed Tren de Aragua MS-13 gang members, but they aren't. They aren't. Not even by their own words. Well, they try to double down now, but they're all alleged. They're all alleged. From their own words, it was alleged. Now they're turning around and just flat out making shit up and saying, no, they're confirmed. Yeah. Oh, I can't, man. I can't. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below. And if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.